Today on Dodson's Corner, we are going to be re-ranking every single division by skill. So we're going to find the 10 most skilled fighters in every single division. Lucas, how did you kind of rank these guys by skill? Like, what was your criteria?
Well, I'm going to be honest. Flyweight, look, so I'm in charge of, we're doing alternating divisions. So I'm in charge of flyweight, featherweight, welterweight, and light heavyweight. You're in charge of the alternating
Bantamweight, lightweight, middleweight, heavyweight. Ooh.
Yeah, have fun with heavyweight. But I really had to do quite a bit of research on flyweight because I don't remember all of Asu Almabayev's fights. So I did some research. Hopefully I can do you guys justice. But the way that I went about ranking them is like it says in the title. We did it based on skill that they've shown right now. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not where do we think they're going to be in 2025. It's re-ranking based on skill end of 2024.
Yeah.
So,
and I think I have like some hot takes in there because like skill, like the most skilled fighters, there's some guys who are more like physical attributes that are what are some of the more dominant attributes, and they're not as skilled as some of the other fighters.
Right.
So there's some hot takes coming up in here. And I also really look for like well-roundedness. That was like well-rounded fighters, you are right at the top.
Well, yeah, it's almost like a pound for pound style.
Ish.
Yeah.
But that more so takes into resume. I didn't take resume into account.
No, definitely not. Yeah. Okay, so let's.
Oh, you're in flyweight. Start us off with the little guys.
Flyweight. Should I start from number 10 then?
Yeah.
Okay, my number 10 pick, Alex Perez. Not much to say.
Wait, did we keep the champions in this?
No. Did you?
Yeah.
Dylan has kept champions in his rankings for skill wise. I did not. I just did the contenders. Like I looked at, number 1 to number 10 contenders, and I re-ranked the contender list.
We have to keep the champions in.
Well, you can tell me where you put the champions in my...
All right, because my champions are hot takes. Like they're hot takes. And I think that in my divisions, I have some champions that aren't as skilled as other guys.
So basically, you guys can just skip my parts and go to Dylan's parts because they're going to be more exciting. But let's start off with flyweight. Again, at number 10, I have Alex Perez. There's nothing interesting to say. The bottom 5 of flyweight is not very exciting, but you have to give Alex Perez a little bit of respect by the wins that he has already. He's shown that he has good skill to beat, bottom 15 flyweights. I was tempted to put someone like Joshua Van because I do think he's extremely skilled, or even someone like Michael Johnson. Charles Johnson, because he's also a skilled flyweight and he's very tall and lanky for the division, so he can, his striking is very good. But Alex Perez has shown time and time again that he does deserve a high ranking in the flyweight division. Number 9, Asu Almabayev. Some people are really high on him. Yeah, you can.
I'm just gonna lounge back. I can have a nap.
You can have a nap during this. But Asu Almabayev, he's from Kazakhstan, so similar to Shavkat Rakhmonov, which is I think why he has a little bit of hype. They have the same kind of headdress, they have the same kind of flag. But if you actually go back and watch his fights, I don't think he's actually that high level. I don't think he's a future champion. He has good wrestling, okay striking, very timid, like very, very timid. And if you're being very timid against the guys in the bottom 10, I don't think you're going to have a chance to get very much higher. So I put him at number 9. Tagir Ulanbekov, a student of Khabib, so you have to put some respect on his name. But again, if I go back and I watch his fights, he hasn't had high-level opponents yet. And he also has losses to some of the guys in the top ranks of flyweight already. Now, I know that he's improving, and I think the Khabib coaching is going to help a lot. Like, that's a cheat code. So I have him at number 8. Again, I'm not like... I guess I can't go into depth with too many of these guys because...
We're going to be here for 3 hours.
We're going to be here for 3 hours. This is a 2-hour special.
Yeah,
already.
This could be a podcast. You could post this on podcast.
Definitely, yeah. Amir Albazi at number 7. Very low on him right now, based on what we saw.
Junk.
Yeah, based on what we saw from Brandon Moreno. But I did go back and look at his resume, and he has wins over a lot of the top guys. He even has a split decision win over Kai Car France. So you have to put some respect on his name. Although it was one of the biggest robberies that I can remember against Kai Car France, but even if it was a competitive fight, I rate KKF very highly, so I have to put some respect on the name. 6, Steve Urseg. Dude has great boxing. Let's be real. Great boxing, great takedown defense. Respect it. I think he beats Amir Albazi any day of the week. Tetsuro Taira at number 5.
Low.
It is low, but if you think about his well-roundedness, like you said, dude's body lock is out of this world. Anyone would die for having a skill like that. But his head movement, awful. Boxing, pretty bad. Like, obviously, Royval is top of the, upper echelon of a flyweight. So Tyra just didn't show that he had that same level. Number 4, Kai Car France, crazy power, but I don't know if he's the most well-rounded or most skilled fighter. Number 3, Manel Cap, one of the best flyweights. Based on that performance and some of his best performances in the past, we definitely know he is one of the most skilled strikers, probably the speediest flyweight, and also doesn't accept positions on his back. So he's just a very hard fighter to keep down and hold them down. Even Muhammad Makayev didn't really hold him down that much. It was just a very boring fight. And then 2, Moreno, you have to respect what he did in that Figgy trilogy or quadrilogy, whatever it was. And then also just the last performance right now against Amir Albazi, unbelievable. Like 50-45 to him, crazy performance. And number 1, the most skilled flyweight other than I'm tweaking, other than champion, it's Royval.
Yeah, Pantoja would obviously be 1.
Yeah, Pantoja would be 1, but based on everything we've seen, Royval beat Tatsuro Taira, which we both rate really highly, and he looked super sharp doing it. He is, other than Pantoja, a very complete flyweight.
Yeah. Coach, sub me in. All right, moving on to bantamweight, starting up at number 10, Marcus McGee. I liked what I saw out of him last time, and I think that when we're looking at the lower end of bantamweight,
it sucks.
It sucks, and they're not very skilled. You know who's a guy who didn't make my top 10?
Who? Sean O'Malley.
No, Mario Batista.
Valid.
Not much skill in holding a guy against the cage. Kyler Phillips, Rob Font. See you later, pals.
Get out of here.
All right, moving on to number 9. This one irked me to put him here, but I have to respect his skill. Henry Cejudo. You know, he still does have skill. He was a world-class wrestler. I think we're not seeing him as strong as we have in the past now. I think he's a shell of himself, a washed-up bum, but he still has to be there.
Yeah, he's still skilled. He's just not good anymore.
Yeah. Number 8, Jose Aldo. I think he still has a lot of the skills that he had when he was one of the best fighters in the UFC. He's just old, and obviously, as you get older, your skills tend to go down, but still has a ton of skill, can go out there and piece up your favorite fighter.
Yeah, like if you look at the Mario Batista matchup, he has more skills than Mario Batista. Please use your leg kicks, bro. Please.
All right, my number 7, Song Yudong. I just think his boxing is unreal, you know, and I think that
that's lower than I thought you'd have him, actually.
It's just really good at the top. Oh, another guy not in here, Cheeto Vera.
Ooh.
He has no skill.
He has chin.
Head. Hit me. Number 6, Corey Sandhagen. I think that in terms of the guys ahead of him, outside of the guy I have a little bit higher, I think he's just the most one-dimensional. Number 5, I have Figueiredo. I just think that he's good, but not great.
Especially in bantamweight.
Yeah, and I think that his best thing is his power, but with everything else, it's just good, you know?
And his ground game is good.
Number 4, I have Merab Dvalishvili. I think that his...
Oh, wait, what? Merab at number 4?
Yeah, because what is Merab's best thing?
Well, it's cardio.
Cardio. Is that a skill?
It's work ethic.
I think it's more physical attribute, you know? So that's why I had to have him a little bit lower. My number 3, Sean O'Malley. I think that his striking is world class. His takedown defense is strong. And then his ground game's trash. It's bantamweight. There's not a lot of well-rounded fighters in here.
True.
Number 2, I have Peter Yan. I think that his boxing, unreal. His ground game, it just, you always forget that he has good ground game, and then you look at the flag. You know, he's probably snuck in a couple sessions at Eagle Gym,
Eagle FC,
And then number 1, Umar Nurmagomedov, being able to strike with Corey Sandhagen, and then also have the ground game that he has. He's the most well-rounded fighter inside of bantamweight.
It's really not fair. All right.
Oh, I just remembered how tough lightweight was.
Oh my goodness.
Like the number 10 in lightweight compared to the number 10 in every other division.
Correct. Well, let's
featherweight.
Featherweight. All right. So featherweight is my next division. This one was again probably the most difficult one that I had to do. But at number 10, I have Josh Emmett.
Okay.
Dude's really powerful.
Yeah.
Really, you know, he's listed as a wrestler, which is crazy. But everyone knows him for his crazy powerful striking. So he has the ability to do everything. You know, you could argue him higher. I just think he's actually really old now. I think he's in his 40s. So he's getting up there. And at a featherweight division where you need to have speed, it's going to be tough. At number 9, Gene Silva.
Ooh,
Someone who's
hot
not even, not even on the top 10 right now. I think he's just well-rounded everywhere. He's so powerful. He is crafty. Like, he is the next generation after. If he didn't have Taporia, he'd have a free shot to the top 5 or even the championship eventually. I think I value him so highly. It's just really difficult to judge his skills based on bottom feeders.
Yeah.
You know, I want to see him against a top 10 or top 15. And number 8, Yair Rodriguez. It's been a while since we've seen him put on a worldy performance. Last time he got kind of outclassed on the ground by Brian Ortega. And Yair Rodriguez is really just known for his flamboyant striking.
Oh.
You know?
Gay striking?
No, that's not gay.
Flamboyant?
You know, it's like very
colorful?
Yeah. Okay. It's colorful striking.
All right.
I'm just not high on your Rodriguez anymore.
I'm not either, and people flame me for it in our recent video when I said that he was my featherweight downfall.
Ooh.
People didn't like that. They're like, he doesn't lose to a Lerone Murphy. And I'm like, yeah, he does.
No, he doesn't. Lerone Murphy sucks, bro. Lerone Murphy's
You just
ass.
wait.
At my number 7 pick, I have Arnold Allen. Dude has crisp boxing. He had a good fight with Max Holloway, but it was too early in his career, and I feel like it took away lots of his confidence. But I am actually still pretty high on him because he's not old yet. He's still young. He has time to learn, and hopefully he has time to keep improving and move up the ladder a little bit. Number 6, I have Aljamain Sterling, former champion, one of the best backpacks in the game right now. We saw him go to what I thought was a win over Movsar, but either way, it's a dead even fight, and Movsar is touted as the guy to beat Taporia. So Aljo clearly has skills, but in featherweight is a little bit more tough. And we haven't actually seen him get very many good wins in featherweight.
Yeah,
so
that's also true.
Can't put him very high. Brian Ortega, great fighter. Has he taken too much damage now? It is looking like he's slowing down, which is unfortunate, but his ground game, the way that he is able to mix things up and find submissions in an MMA related scene, not just jiu-jitsu, you know, Aljo might be better than him in pure jiu-jitsu, maybe, but Brian Ortega is a bigger frame, better for the division, and the way that he mixes it up in MMA is very impressive. Movsar Evloev at number 4. I think you have to respect what he did to pretty much all of his opponents. He even has a win over Diego Lopez, as we all know. Was short notice, you know, whatever you want to say, but he's a skilled fighter. He's one of the most skilled wrestlers on the ground. He's super strong in the division. I don't think I have to justify that pick. I think it's very fair. Diego Lopez at number 3. I actually kept most of these the same. Diego Lopez at number 3. Again, he is super skilled everywhere. Powerful, great boxing technique, he's a jiu-jitsu coach. Like, he's just so well-rounded everywhere, and featherweight is stacked. Like any other division, Lopez would be 1. Max Holloway at number 2. He's still ranked in featherweight, so I had to put him in there. Unfortunately, he's only lost to Volkanovski in the last however many years, other than Taporia now, I guess. That sucks to say, but yeah, he's still the most skilled boxer. One of the most skilled boxers in the UFC, and you got to put respect on the name with his resume. Of course, at number 1, Volkanovski.
Yeah.
I'm not doing champions. Dylan's doing champions as a reminder. So Volkanovski, other than Taporia, is the guy to beat still. He's only lost to Islam and Taporia. You have to remember that. Even though he has 3 losses, it's to the 2 best fighters that we've ever seen in this generation, probably. So it's tough.
All right. It's lightweight time.
Yes, sir.
My number 10 lightweight, Matthias Gamrot.
Okay.
You know, very good wrestling. He's not bad on the feet. He's certainly not bad, just not the most well-rounded. And then we move on to number 9. Might have been a little bit homerish, but Paddy Pimblett is at 9. I just think that his jiu-jitsu, his submission games, they're good. His striking, good. He's just kind of good at everything right now. He's not quite great at anything yet. Number 8, I have Justin Gaethje.
Oh, that's quite a difference.
He has the skill set to be well-rounded, just refuses to be well-rounded.
The IQ is really what holds him back.
Yeah, like his striking, elite, but that's it. That's all he's got.
Yeah, well, he has wrestling. He just doesn't use it.
He doesn't use it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so annoying.
My number 7 is Dan Hooker. I think that his striking is good or great even.
Yeah.
And then he was able to defend. I don't even know. Gamrot didn't really throw takedowns, but
some.
He evaded the threat of the takedown in that Gamrot fight. And I think that Gamrot fight is one that I value highly for a pure striker.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know? Number 6, I have Money Moicano. I think that his mix of jiu-jitsu and his ground and pound, and even his striking on the feet, just well-rounded. Number 5, I have Dustin Poirier. I think his boxing is still world-class at his old age, and the way that he was able to take Islam Makhachev into the 5th round is not something you can take lightly. Mm-hmm. You have to be a skilled fighter to do that. You know, especially when you get older, you can't rely on your physical attributes as much. You have to rely on your skill.
Yeah, I think he could be higher.
Number 4, I have Charles Oliveira. I think that his jiu-jitsu, it might be the best in UFC history. You know, world-class jiu-jitsu, most finishes in UFC history. I just think that we see a lot of weaknesses in standing exchanges. You know, I think that he gets hit too much. His striking probably isn't the best. It's still good. Obviously, you're a former champion. You have to have good striking to be a former champion.
Yeah, like if you put him in a boxing match against Dustin Poirier, he's going to lose.
Yeah. My number 3 is Max Holloway. I think that, like I said, or like you said in featherweight, elite boxing, and I think that, you know, he's been able to survive 75 minutes on the ground with Volk. You know, he's only been submitted once in his career, especially when he's known as an elite striker with little ground game. So he's been able to evade.
Takedown defense is insane.
Yeah, he's been able to evade going to the ground for his whole career, you know? Number 2, I have Arman Sarukian. I think that if you're able to beat Charles Oliveira on the ground and also on the feet, you know, it's just that you're a little bit of a step ahead of him. Well-rounded, would obviously be number 1 in a world where we don't have number 1 Islam Makhachev. He's either 1 or 2 for the most well-rounded fighters inside of the UFC. It's between him and Topuria.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, moving on to welterweight. At number 10, I have Colby Covington. I think he is actually number 9 right now.
He's got no skill.
In the top, you could put like maybe no, that's not true. He has good wrestling. He has decent striking.
But we ain't seen it. It's all hearsay. It's all hearsay.
We haven't seen it for a while.
What are your sources?
We haven't seen it for a while, okay? But it was tough. I think there is some people who could maybe go above him, but, you know, am I going to value a win over Neil Magny by Miles Morales as top 10 level? No, I'm not. So Colby Covington just barely holding on to the top 10 spot. Number 9, Gilbert Burns looked atrocious against Sean Brady. So again, it's another guy who, if there was like some other strong welterweight guys outside the top 15, you could put him above him, but he just has so much skill mixing up his ground game with his striking. He's built like a tank. He was super durable. Now he looks a little bit, you know, it looks like every shot's hurting him a little bit more than it used to, which kind of sucks. But I mean, you look at that Khamzat Chimaev fight, one of my favorite fights of all time. So definitely has the skill to keep up with the top level guys, but maybe not anymore. He's also really old. Sean Brady at number 8. Don't value him very highly at all. He had a win over Gilbert Burns, but again, how good is Gilbert Burns anymore? So I have him at number 8. Not much more to say there. I feel like you guys know our opinions on him by now. Carlos Prates at number 7.
It could be higher.
He could be higher, but again, it's like, you know, we're valuing 4 highlight KOs over 3 guys who are outside of the rankings. 1 guy, Neil Magny, who's holding down a gatekeeper spot. So yes, he's looked sensational against lower level opponents. How is that going to translate to guys who are really good on the ground? How is it going to translate to a Gilbert Burns? I'm not sure, but obviously he's super skilled. So he's at number 7. Number 6, Ian Machado Gary, arguably could be higher now.
Yeah, he just is skilled.
Yeah.
You know, I think he lacks some of like the intangibles, like a killer instinct and that kind of stuff. Like I think the mentality stuff is kind of what more so gets in the way than his skill. Like he has all the skill to be a UFC champion.
Yeah, for sure. His striking is obviously good. He's super tall for the division. And now that we've seen him against Shavkat, it looks like his takedown defense is really, really good. And also his ground game is getting a lot better than what we've seen in the past. So I could definitely see him being above some of the guys at the top even. At number 5, though, I have JDM. His boxing is some of the best. probably the best in the division right now. Super crisp. Go back and watch the Kevin Holland fight if you want to see it. I do wish he would maybe press a little bit on the gas a little bit more in the first couple rounds, because he tends to leave it to decisions quite a few times if he doesn't get a finish. But that knee over Gilbert Burns was unbelievable. He was able to survive on the ground against Gilbert Burns, which is nothing to scoff at. So I think he's number 5. Number 4, Joaquin Buckley.
Oh.
He's so good.
Oh.
He is unbelievable. Obviously, he had the win over Colby Covington. People are saying he's a bad matchup for Bilal. I think Bilal still beats him. I do think he has bad matchups against, a Shavkat who could really outmuscle him on the ground probably. And in the striking, it's a toss-up at this point, based on what we've seen from Shavkat. And I do think he's really good now. I've been underrating him for a long time, but I think you have to give him some respect. Again, Colby Covington's a weird meter stick to judge him off of. So who knows? He could be number 7. He could be number 2. Kamaru Usman at number 3. Still respect, one of the greatest fighters of the previous generation, or, you could still call it this generation. He's amazing. He's great in the clinch, great wrestler, and a great striker as well. He has highlight finishes over Masvidal. He has wars with Colby Covington back in his prime. He's probably the only guy who could have stopped Colby Covington and Masvidal from becoming those championship level guys. And then at number 2, I have Leon Edwards still.
He is skilled. He is so skilled.
He's so skilled.
He might be the most skilled striker inside of the whole UFC.
It's annoying. Like, yes, you can say he doesn't push the pace and he'll point fight it out. But skill-wise, the dude is clean.
Yeah.
Clean striking. And to go against Usman twice and be the only person to get a takedown on Usman, it has to be said, his ground game's not the worst. Yeah. His takedown defense especially, I don't know, his jiu-jitsu probably isn't great, and his wrestling isn't the strongest, but takedown defense, really solid. At number 1, I've Shavkat Rakhmonov.
Makes sense. He can do it in every facet of the game.
Yeah, he finds finishes. That's an underrated thing. Being able to... In training, it's one thing, but in a fight, being able to have the IQ to find a finish when it's not obvious, that standing choke, not many guys are going to think of that. John Jones is the only other guy to do it in recent history that I can remember, and he's the smartest fighter of all time.
Yeah. So
you have to give it up to Shavkat for being a great striker. I think you have to take that Ian Gary fight with a grain of salt, maybe, with an injury.
Yeah.
So great striker. Boxing good, kicks decent, but clinch game, probably the best in the division. Wrestling, probably top 3 in the division.
Yeah. All right, moving on to middleweight. This one was tough just because I feel like, honestly, they could honestly all be interchangeable. Like, we don't have very many super well-rounded fighters inside of this division. So it's like, who's the most skilled at their one facet?
Right.
All right, starting off at number 10, I have Roman Dolidze.
Okay, that's
I
fair.
think that he has good ground game, can hold his own on the feet.
He's big.
Yeah, he's big, strong. Number 9, I have Cannonier. Kind of what I've been talking about. He definitely can't rely on the physical anymore. That man is big. Yeah. So, his striking's still there. He didn't really go to the ground much his last fight with Braho. It was mostly on the feet, and he looked okay on the feet. He looked like the type of guy that would fraud check your favorite fighter.
Yeah.
Your favorite uppercomer, getting fraud checked. Number 8, I have Kyle Barajo. Might be a little bit low. I'm just not completely sold on him yet. I think that he's huge and he's strong, and his striking is very powerful, but we didn't see any ground game in that Cannonier fight. So we haven't seen him use his ground game inside the rankings.
Or the Paul Craig fight.
Yeah. He's just been standing. And then also he just takes too many shots. He absorbs too much. My number 7, I have Fluffy Hernandez. I think that
that's fair.
His dominance on that ground in that Michelle Pereira fight was unreal. His ground and pound, unreal. But we didn't really see much in terms of exchanges on the feet. He was immediately looking for that takedown. Number 6, I have Imavov.
Okay.
It's Imavov. What else can you say?
Yeah, he's good on the wrestling. He's not great. He's good at striking. He's not great.
Yeah, he's Imavov.
Yeah.
At the 5 spot, I have Whitaker. I think that he's still good on the feet, great on the feet, we'll say.
Yeah.
But when we saw him against Chimaev, the ground game, it was basically lights out as soon as it went to the ground. My number 4, I have Israel Adesanya. He could hold his own on the feet against Dricus. As soon as it went to the ground, he started tapping before. Well, like he was tapping when he was getting taken down. Basically, he immediately started tapping. Oh, it's over. He got my ankle. My number 3, I have Sean Strickland. I think that his striking is up there with a Sean O'Malley and a Leon Edwards for some of the most skilled striking inside of the UFC. I think we have a lot of his physical intangibles. Like I think that dude's gas tank is very underrated. Like he looks the same in round 1 that he does in round 5, but that's not really so much skill. I think that he doesn't really have a whole lot of ground game. You know, I think that that's probably his biggest weakness.
Good at takedown defense, though.
Yeah, but once you get him to the ground, it's where he struggles. My number 2 is Dricus du Plessis. I think that he's a good wrestler, good striker. But then more so what makes him what he is his just pure strength. He is so strong inside of that division. He is huge. And then also just his funkiness, you know? So 2 things that aren't really as skillful. And then obviously number 1 is Khamzat Chimaev. He might be the best wrestler we've ever seen inside of the UFC. And he can hold his own on the feet. He is a good striker as well. He's probably in the top 10 most well-rounded fighters, top 10 most skilled fighters inside of the UFC.
Yeah, striking's really good.
Might even be top 5.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's move on to my last division, light.
Can't wait for you have ankle. I have. Oh wait, we're not doing champ. Oh, we never talked about where Bilal would go.
Yeah, where would Bilal go in welterweight? So Shavkat first, Leon second, Kamaru Usman third, Buckley fourth.
I'd probably maybe put him honestly 2. Like the striking I saw was actually really good.
Boxing clean.
Yeah,
that's prime Canelo, bro. All right, let's move on to light heavyweight. At number 10, I have Bogdan Guskov. Dude is powerful. He's a killer. He has that instinct. He has great boxing. I can't remember his ground game very well. I'm sorry, but light heavyweight is so weak. So Guskov, I think he's going to get a win over Johnny Walker, which is why I don't have Johnny Walker on this list. He was my runner-up. I think Guskov is going to win that fight. I think he's more skilled right now. He also has a better chin than Johnny Walker, which it's not a skill, but it is an attribute, and it does help win fights. At number 9, I have Dominic Reyes. Dude has great striking still. It's just, when he gets chinned, he gets chinned. So that's a little bit scary, but if you want to talk about pure striking, takedown defense, I mean, the dude went toe-to-toe with John Jones.
Yeah.
Like, he's not the same guy he was in that fight, but he is building up confidence again, and, title run starts now, so I respect his skill. Number 8, Uzdemir. He's coming off a 1-1 record, great win over Johnny Walker in the first round, but then a closer loss to Carlos Ulberg, just didn't have quite the same striking accuracy, and he's getting older, He's been around for a long time. Number 7, Alexander Rakic. This dude could just low-key be thrown off these rankings.
Honestly, I'd take Johnny Walker over him.
It's not a bad show.
If you had to cut either Rakic or Johnny Walker from light heavyweight, I would cut Rakic. Johnny Walker's more entertaining. Yeah. Like, it's honestly like...
It's not the worst show.
Anthony Smith or Rakic, I'm cutting Rakic.
Yeah, but I think what carries him is his highlight KO that he got a couple years ago, and then since then, he's been on a losing streak, and somehow he's still ranked number 5 in the actual rankings. I have him at number 7 because he has a good frame for the division. He's very tall, very powerful striker. Ground game isn't there, but it's just like... something is lacking. Something in his game is lacking, and I can't quite put my finger on it. At number 6, I have Carlos Ulberg. Again, dude showed great striking, not the best gas tank as we've seen, maybe not even the best fight IQ. City kickboxing, don't hate on me if that's not where he trains, but I know he trains around there in Australia and in New Zealand, so he's from around that area. I don't know if he trains at City Kickboxing, but I do feel like some of them are overrated now. Izzy carried them to the top for a very long time. And now even we saw Navajo Sterling make his UFC debut. I would have liked to see him get that finish against someone who wasn't fighting back. Like, that was very disappointing in my opinion. But I digress. Number 5, Jan Blachowicz. Dude, he's old. How old is he?
66th birthday. I can't believe we almost forgot Jan Blachowicz's 66th birthday. Everyone go down to the comments. Wish Jan a happy 66th birthday.
So he's getting up there, but he's still a good fighter for 66 for sure. Now, we haven't seen him in a couple years. You know, it's been a while. So it's really going to depend on his next fight. But in terms of skills, I mean, he has wrestling, which in this division is rare, and he has good striking. He's took in Alex Pereira to a decision, you know, respect. Yeah. Anyways, Jamal Hill at number 4, really powerful striker, good stand up, not good footwork. His footwork's really lacking. He's very stationary, but it's light heavyweight. It's not the end of the world. So not much more to say there. Again, coming off that knee injury and then a loss to Alex Pereira. Tough to say where he stacks up against the current skill level. Number 3, Yuri Prohaska.
Ooh.
He's still really good. In terms of skill, I would say skill, maybe not actually that good. Maybe he should switch with Jamal Hill now that I'm thinking about it, because his attributes are really just samurai warrior, and that's about it. Obviously, he's powerful. He has unorthodox striking. He submitted Glover Teixeira, so he's good on the ground. You know, you could put him wherever you want, and I wouldn't be mad. Number 2, Khalil Roundtree.
Ooh.
One of the best strikers in that division. I would say probably the best other than Alex Pereira right now. The Muay Thai stance really works for him. He's shorter. He's 6'1" in the division, so not the tallest. But I liked what I saw out of him. You know, no one's been able to take...
If heart was a skill, he'd be one.
That's inspirational, man.
Mamba mentality.
But his ground game is obviously lacking.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't have the ground skill. And if that was tested, I think we would see him probably fail that test. But who's going to test it? No one's going to test it in this division because they all suck at that, other than Ankalaev. And even Ankalaev, I think people might be overrating that. But at number 1, I have Ankalaev because he hasn't lost in absolute ages. He's 19-1-1, so he has a great record. His skills in terms of striking, they're fine, but it's the well-roundedness that really carries him to the top.
Where does Pereira sit there?
I think his striking definitely carries him a lot. Ground game, he's super strong up against the fence, so he has good takedown defense. Like, his wrist control is unbelievable because he just has massive hands. Mm-hmm. He's just powerful. So I'd probably put him at number 1.
Yeah, that's where I would put him. All right, the last division, heavyweight. This one was so tough. This is also like, they're just all grouped together. Like, even while Lucas was just reading that one, I was switching up spots. My number 10, Mick Parkin.
Okay, that's fair.
You know, he's just little Tom Aspinall. But you think he might be big on Tom Aspinall.
Fat Tom Aspinall.
Yeah. Fatty Bobaddy.
Yeah.
My number 9 is Marcin Tybura. I think his jiu-jitsu and just kind of his striking, he's just well-rounded at being meh.
Yeah, he's decent.
Yeah.
Average heavyweight.
Yeah. My number 8, this one's a big faller. I like every time when I was making this one, I was like, oh, he goes down to further spot. I'm just not completely sold on him anymore. Sergey Pavlovich.
Ooh.
Just completely one-dimensional.
Okay.
Which is really interesting because I have like a guy like Volkov a lot higher, but screw you, Pavlovich. I don't know why, but you suck.
Yeah, fair.
Number 7, I have Sergey Spivak. You know, I think we see a much better ratio of striking, grappling with Spivak compared to a guy like Pavlovich. Mm-hmm. Then at 6, I have Curtis Blades. Once again, more well-rounded. You know, we just have a lot of heavyweights who are good at kind of a lot of things. And then we have a lot of guys who are either just elite at one thing. Mm-hmm. Number 5, Gelton Almeida. Another guy good at everything, well-rounded.
But I mean, he's really shines in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Like, if he gets you to the ground, it's wraps.
There's very few guys. The only guys that can probably get out of it are Jones, Aspinall, and maybe Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
My number 4, Cyril Gahn. I just think that in terms of what he has going on, he's very fast. He's getting better on the ground. His striking is also improving. You know, he's getting better. Might be a little late for that, but
yeah, he has a good record. Like, he's 13-2, but he says he's been training wrestling a lot, and it did look like he was willing to go into those exchanges in the Volkov fight. And his striking is, other than Tom Aspinall and maybe John Jones, but that's tough. It's probably the best.
Yeah, I think Volkov might have better striking.
True.
And Volkov is number 3. I think that outside of the top 2 dogs, he's the best heavyweight in the world. I think that his striking is the best out of everyone else in the division.
Yeah.
Obviously, he has the submission loss to Aspinall, which probably doesn't highlight his ground game the best, but he just elite striking leads to making up for the rest of your stuff. Number 2, I have John Bones Jones. I think that
this dude's crazy. Number 2?
I think that at this point in time right now, I think that, okay, I'll say 1. 1 is Aspinall, 2 is Jones.
Yeah.
If we're looking at striking, I think that...
I thought 1 was Shamil Gaziev.
If we're looking at Jones at 2, Aspinall at 1, I think striking, Aspinall completely clears Jones. You know,
Speed and just power for the division.
Completely clears him.
And age.
And we're talking right now.
Yeah.
And then when we get into the ground game, I think that you might be able to give a slight edge to Jones, but not a big enough edge to Jones to make up for the difference in striking. And I think we're talking about those two main facets of the game. Obviously, with ground game, there's a lot more. There's grappling, there's clinch work, there's takedowns, there's all that stuff. But at this point, I think that Tom Aspinall is the third most skilled fighter inside of the whole UFC.
That's fair.
You know, I think that he is so well-rounded, and he came up in mixed martial arts. You know, that is what is the proving factor for how dominant he has been. He is a mixed martial artist. You know, he has the black belt. He's an elite striker. He is elite.
Yeah. Trained with the Furies for boxing and trained with his dad since he was like 5 for jiu-jitsu. So doesn't get much better than that for a mixed martial artist.
No.
I think John Jones, like his natural IQ for the game and his frame he's built for fighting.
Yeah.
But at this age, he's taken an insane amount of shots. I think Jones probably loses to Aspinall right now. In terms of skill, though, you know.
And that's not undermining Jones's legacy.
No.
Like, Jones is probably the most skilled fighter in UFC history.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
Had it all.
All right. That is going to do it. Let us know which rankings you loved, which rankings you hated. You're probably all going to tell us which rankings you hated. And while you're down there, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. We're trying to hit 3K by the end of 2024. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.
See ya.